Great. So welcome everyone to our monthly My Speaker Business community call, where you know that everyone that's been here with us, but maybe also for the newbies. It's always great to have some newbies with us every time. Well, this is a community call for our My Speaker Business community, which is pretty much people that either want to become professional with their speaking, make money on stage, or people that are already there and that want to make their speaker business flourish further, which means it's exactly for you. And as you know, that these calls are really here to give you practical hints and tips from our guest experts. Every month we're inviting a precious guest with us, and we just share with you hints and tips that you can apply right away in your business. Also, you can ask your personal questions on how to make your speaker business flourish further. Also, you can exchange with other professional speakers, and also if you have a priority project running right now that you would like to get help and support on, just shout out, let us know. Well, as you know, we make these calls very interactive. So ask your questions anytime during the call in the chat room. And at the end of the call, just come in, play with us, and ask your questions right away as well. Also, when you're not speaking, please mute yourself so that we have a sparkling video recording for everyone that wants to watch this afterwards. Well, what is our month topic today? Well, we will talk about, or the title really very much is, Power Up, Follow-Up Secrets to Speak and Earn More. And I think we all speakers, we all want to step up onto stages more often. And of course, we want to earn more as well and make a bigger difference. Well, the question to you is, would you really like to get additional speaking engagements every time you step up on stage? Many speakers really make this common mistake. They're not really getting engaged by an event organizer again and again, or they're not really getting engaged by people in their audience, even though they heard their speech or heard your speech and loved your speech. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will engage you proactively. So there's just one magical step that you need to take to get more stage engagements and to get booked again and again as a speaker and in other ways. And that's what we're going to talk about today. You just simply have to follow up. Before we step into our topic today, let me introduce our special guest today, who's really a great friend. We met in California earlier this year, and we share, we are part of a community called Evolutionary Business Council. And I was so happy that I could invite her today because she's really America's foremost authority on follow-up and the founder of the Breakthrough Training Company. So that's called Power Up Your Follow-Up. She works closely with entrepreneurs and network marketers who don't have an efficient and effective follow-up system in place and are really struggling to generate consistent sales. She really helps them create an easy-to-follow step-by-step system for their business so they can convert more prospects into clients without being salesy. She was also a successful investment banker with more than 20 years experience as managing director for Wall Street firms. And her organizational skills and a really extraordinary ability to connect with people have been truly instrumental for her success. She has extensive experience as a network marketing entrepreneur as well, and has built an international team of several thousand consultants. Wow, that's pretty impressive, I would say. Today, her proven follow-up system has generated over $25 billion in sales. $25 billion in sales. That's quite a number, I would say. So she knows what she's talking about. Well, welcome with me, Debbie Hoffman. Debbie, it's really an honor and pleasure to have you with us today at this very early hour for you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and welcome to all of you. So for those of you who have the video muted, I want to make this really interactive. So if you're in a place that we can see you and you can see me, I'll be asking questions, and I'd love you guys and gals to raise your hand just so I can see if you're relating to what I'm saying. So that would be super helpful, because I love to speak in person, and this is just a great venue to meet people from all over the world. So please engage, and if you can, unmute your video if you're not in your PJs, and we can see you. So question for all of you, do you have like piles of business cards like scattered all over the place? Does anybody relate to that from networking events? Just Yeah. And how would you like to turn those piles of cards into like happy, loyal clients? Like that would be good, huh? To have, yes. Okay, great. Well, welcome to my talk today. And first, I want to acknowledge Monique for your commitment to your people, learning like how important follow-up really is to growing a business and to growing a speaking business. And because you realize that it's the follow-up that's going to make their businesses fulfill their dreams in life, because that's really what it's all about, right? We all have our why for doing our business, but underneath that all is our big dreams. And I want to acknowledge each and every one of you for not only dreaming, but following up on your dreams and to be feisty enough to persevere in your business, because it really takes courage to do what you're all doing. And not everyone has the courage to do this, and not everyone's willing to do what it takes to fall in love with follow-up and persevere in their business. So just really want to acknowledge all of you. So before we get into my juicy tips that I'm going to share with you today, would it be okay if I just took a few minutes and shared with you like why I'm so passionate about follow-up? Would that be, yes? Okay, good. I got a thumbs up from Monique. All right, awesome. Yes, thumbs up from Doug. Yay. Thank you. So, and from Natalie. Yes, thank you. So I am very blessed to share that I'm living my dream life right now. I just celebrated my 33-year anniversary with my husband, which you'll hear is an absolute miracle once you hear the rest of my story. And we're about to embark on this amazing trip to walk the Camino in Spain next week with a couple we've known for 20 years. And then my husband and I are meeting our 26-year-old son in Paris. So things are just wonderful right now. But just like 5 years ago, my life was more of a nightmare than a dream. I remember that moment when I came home we had a 5,000 square foot home on an acre and a half of property, and there was this notice on our gate that our home had gone into foreclosure. And we had 48 hours to get out. My husband had been an amazing designer and builder, and he had been building successfully for 20 years. And we'd taken all of our resources, everything we had invested in this house to remodel it and sell. But with the real estate crash in California, the house was not selling. And to be honest with you, I knew it was coming, but I had been in total denial. But seeing that notice on the gate put me, it was like hitting me like a fist in the stomach. It put me into this deep, deep depression. And things got so bad for us financially that foundation that we had so solidly built just started to crumble and fall apart. And we were forced to file bankruptcy. And, it was humiliating and devastating, to say the least. What saved me, well, actually, in 2001, I had been this successful Wall Street investment banker who left Wall Street to pursue making more of a difference as an entrepreneur, like all of you. I'm just curious, any corporate exiles here? Anyone leave corporate? Yeah? Okay, a few of you. Okay. So I had just left my corporate job to be with my family, to make more of a difference as an entrepreneur, and I built this huge network marketing team. And here I was in foreclosure. Like, what happened, right? And I didn't know what to do to get out of that nightmare. So what really saved me was finding this mentor. And I remember the moment where I said yes, and I invested in my business and myself, because I knew this coach could help me. She pulled me out of that dark hole, that deep hole. And I'm so grateful for the support that I received from her. And so when I was done being a victim, I started to get back to work. And what happened was I met a woman at a networking event, and I was representing these products that I had, these wellness products. And she was very interested in what I had to offer and invited me to follow up with her, which I did for 14 months. Has anybody here ever followed up with somebody for 14 months? Monique. Oh, okay. So one. All right. Most people don't do. It's not easy, right? It takes a lot of perseverance and structure and organization. My philosophy is never give up following up until you get the yes or the no. You have to have completion, because people ask me all the time, how long should I follow up? Till you get the yes or the no. So after 14 months, she said yes and became a client. And we had this conversation a few weeks later, and she said, Debbie, you are amazing at follow-up. I struggle with it. You have a gift. People are struggling with this. No one follows up with me the way you do. You've got to do something with this. And to tell you the truth, I had no idea what she was talking about. I had no idea I was doing anything special. I had no idea that people were struggling. I mean, how many of you have a gift, something that you just do naturally that you take for granted? Like, don't we all have something? Yeah, like we all do. It's something very special about and unique to us. And sometimes it takes someone outside of us to point this out. So I'm so grateful to her for encouraging me to start this business. That's how it actually got started. I was not looking for this business. And one of the things now is, like, I'm helping so many entrepreneurs. I have a thriving business now. I'm helping so many speakers and entrepreneurs to be more confident and efficient with their follow-up and to achieve their dreams in life. And one of my dreams back then was to take my son to Italy for his graduation from Brown University. And the year that he graduated, because of the bankruptcy, we couldn't do it. And I was devastated. So I, dug back into my follow-up system that I had created on Wall Street and got to work. And a year and a half later, we were sitting in Florence eating gelato. And it was like the best trip of my entire life. So the thing about having a follow-up system is, no matter what's happening in your life, you can always tap back into it and rebuild. It happened for me. It happened for so many of my clients. So now I'm on this mission to help people to reach their dreams in life. So what I'm going to share right now, this is not corny. This is like my why, and it's my dreams come true when I follow up. I'd love everyone to just kind of say that with me, because it's just so important to get in your body. My dreams come true when I follow up. How does that feel? Like, doesn't that feel really good? It's just what I'm all about, because yes, I'm great at follow-up, and yes, this is my gift, but my whole mission is to help people reach their dreams, whatever it is for you. So I'm just curious, let's say you've been following up, your business is growing, your dreams are coming true. I would just love one or two of you to quickly share, like, what are you doing? Like, what are your dreams? What would you be traveling? Would you buy a new home, a new car? Like, what would be happening for you in your life? Anybody want to share? Just unmute your dreams. Just would love to know one of your dreams, big dreams.
Oh, I'm building this community here, right? And I just love to have as many people as possible, thousands, millions of people, to speak up, scale up, and make a bigger difference by sharing their message.
Love, 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 love it. Okay, anyone else want to share their dream, their vision for why are you doing your business? Like, what's really underneath it all? What are your dreams? Anyone else?
Deb, mine is, I speak on suicide because I'm a two-time recovery. So
wow.
Mine is to start saving lives, particularly veterans.
Wow. Oh my God, that is, you just gave me chills. Whoa, that's a huge dream. Thank you so much for sharing that, Doug. Really appreciate that. Wow.
I have one as well, but it's not as noble as that one. I just wanted to be a stand-up comedian, and I'm thinking following up might be a good idea there as well.
Okay, so your dream is to be a stand-up comedian. I love it. Everyone's dream is as noble to them as anyone else's. So there's no comparison here. So that's big for you. So I appreciate that. So let's come back to the present now. What might be getting in between you and your dreams? Like, what mindset, what's getting in the way? I'm hearing so many people going from networking event to event, and they're not seeing the results to justify the effort. Some people are just feeling really disorganized. They don't have a system in place. Some of you might be feeling you have something so amazing to share with people, and they're just not getting it. Like, sometimes we feel like, how come they're not getting it, right? So do you want to know some of my secrets? You ready? You can dive right into some of my follow-up secrets. All right, cool. All right, so here we go. So the first thing I'm going to share is about networking. And I'm just curious if you can raise your hands if you network for your business or go to speak at networking events. Anybody? All right, so Monique and Marcus, and that's all right, perfect. Okay, great. So what I'm finding out there, and let me know if you can relate to this. Do you go to networking events and there's sometimes these people that take their business card, they stuff it in your face when you haven't even asked for it, and then they like hose you down with information about themselves, and they talk and talk and talk. Anybody experience that? Yes, okay. I hear everybody pretty much that I speak to has had one experience like this. So what I'm going to share with you is like a mindset shift around networking. I suggest you go to a networking event. Oh, Doug. All right, hopefully this will change things for you. He said myself sometimes. And Louise said travel. Thank you, Louise. So when you go to a networking event, go with the mindset of helping other people, to show up in service to them and what they need, not to go to sell your stuff and to get clients. Now, of course, we're going to networking events because we want to eventually get clients. That's why we're going. But if you go wanting to help people first and learning about them and seeing how you can support them, the whole energy is going to shift. Because imagine these people are getting hosed down by lots of other folks as well. So their defenses are up, their wall is up. And when you come to them and you're not even talking about yourself, you're just asking about them and seeing how you can help them, their wall will come down, their heart will open, and a deeper connection will be created. So I'm going to share a question with you that's really powerful that I share with my VIP clients. That's very simple, but incredibly powerful. And so I recommend you write this down. When you're speaking with someone, you find out what they do, ask some questions first about how you can, what do they have going on the next 3 to 6 months that you can help them with, that you can support them with. And then ask them this question: what inspired you to start your business? What inspired you to start your business? When you ask an inspiring question, you're going to create an inspiring conversation. And what's going to happen is they're going to open up around something very deep and meaningful that happened in their lives, like what Doug just shared. If someone asked Doug, what inspired you to start your business, and he shared what he just shared with us, don't you think you would feel like a deeper connection to him? Right? Because people have their stories. And most of the time at networking events, they don't have the opportunity to share their stories. And, we all know we love to talk about ourselves, right? So if you ask somebody to share, they're going to open up to you, and there'll be more trust and connection and rapport. And so what I'm going to share now might sound crazy, but trust me, it's true. The longer you put off talking about yourself and the less you talk about yourself, the more referrals and clients you're actually going to get. It's a longer process, but go to build relationships and create value for people and see what happens. So I had this client, Deborah, and she hated networking, hated it. And she felt very pressured to sell and get clients. And when we talked about this mindset shift around networking, she's like, I can do that. I love helping people. I love making a difference. And she's just this outgoing, beautiful person. So she ended up going to these networking events and clearly shared what she did, because a lot of times people go on and on and on about what they do and they get lost. People get lost. So you have to create your what do you do statement in a way that gets people to lean in. So we worked on that. And she was so powerful in what she shared that people came up to her and said, what are you doing? I want to get to know you better. And she got like so many new clients and so much business from just networking in a different way and going with that different mindset. I think she got 8 new clients and $20,000 in income came in the first few months just from this new approach. So it's very, very, very powerful. And if you go to a networking event as an attendee, so you're not speaking, the more connections you make with people there, and hopefully they're going to ask you what you do. If they don't ask what you do, and they're going on and on and on, you can very gently say, would it be okay if I shared what I'm up to? Just very casually. And they'll go, oh my God, I'm so sorry I didn't ask. And it will actually make them feel guilty. But if you're going to a networking event as a speaker, the mistake I see people make is they only follow up, if at all, with people who fill out a form or a sign-up sheet or whatever. And the key thing is you want to build as many relationships and create as many connections with as many people as you can at that networking event. So for an example, I spoke at a multi-speaker event a few years ago. I think there was about 6 of us or 8 of us, and it was a 2-day event. And I connected with people the whole 2 days. So don't just show up right before you speak and then leave right after. That's another big mistake I see people make. They show up, they speak, and then they leave. And you need to be there to build connection and relationship with people. So I built all these relationships. I had some people who signed up for my introductory program, my Power Up Your Sales program, but then I had a bunch of people to follow up with. I followed up with these people 6-9 months later. And I was still following up and still enrolling people in my program. And the organizer said, Debbie, you're the only one that's signing up new clients. Like, nobody's following up like this. And I'm like, what? Like, why are they going to speak and spend all this time and energy and money to prepare and get there and then not follow up? But it's just an epidemic out there that I'm finding that speakers are just not following up. So those are some tips around networking. And again, like Monique said, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, okay? So I'm going to move on to a topic that's a little sensitive, but I think most of you will probably relate, that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of speakers are not working smart because they're disorganized. They don't have a system they can rely on. So there's a cycle of procrastination and drop balls and loose ends and like people falling through the cracks. So one of the things that you can do, what questions come up for you as you listen to Debbie? Okay, great, Monique, thank you. I wasn't sure if that was a question for me. So one of the things, the first thing I recommend you do to get more organized, because we're all so busy. We have lives, we have families, we have other things going on. We have to work as efficiently as possible. So we want to have technology in place to help us keep track of all the people we're following up with. And it's called a customer relationship management system. And just the name alone lets you know like how fabulous this is. It's all about customer relationships. It's all about building relationships. So I'm just curious if you could just raise your hand if you're currently using a CRM. Okay, Natalie and Monique. Okay, so it looks like a couple of you. Okay, great. And this is very common. Most people I speak to are not using a CRM. So they're very easy to use. There's a gazillion of them out there. And on my website, powerupyourfollowup.com, I have a tab with resources, powerupyourfollowup.com. On the resources tab, I vetted some CRMs. It's not one size fits all. Everyone has different needs and different personality and different capabilities. So you've got to do a free trial and go with a company that has support. With a CRM, when you go to a networking event, you'll create categories for the name of the event you went to. You can create categories for whether somebody's very interested in learning about what you do, mildly interested, maybe later, or not interested, or maybe they're not a good fit to be a client, but they'll be a good referral source for you, or a JV partner, power partner, whatever you call them. And power partners are those people who are in a similar industry as you, but you're not in competition with them, and you can complement each other really well by referring people back and forth to each other. So what I recommend you do is get a CRM and start, and here's the tip, one person at a time. And what I mean by this is don't get overwhelmed by stacks and stacks of cards that you have and that it's going to take days to input all the information. Just enter one person and then call them. And then with the CRM, you can set a reminder for the next follow-up. So 2 days later, 3 days later, whatever you're going to do, an alarm will go off, a reminder. Some of these systems will send you an email or a text or a pop-up. So set the reminders and then do one at a time. And I recommend you follow up with the people you've met most recently so that you're more top of mind for them, and then work your way backwards in time. And I hear from people all the time, they ask me, what do I do with these cards from people from 6 months ago? Should I throw them out? And no, never, ever, ever throw out a card. You can always call people back, even if you don't remember where you met them, and just say, I just came across your card and I would love to set a time for us to get to know each other, to see, if and how we can support each other. So those cards are gold. Never throw them out. So I'll give a perfect example of how powerful having a system is. So early in the year, I was starting my 6-month mastery program, and there were 2 women who weren't ready. but wanted me to follow up with them for my December program. So in November, the reminders popped up. I never would have remembered to call these people. It was like 5-6 months later. So I followed up with one of them 5 times and one of them 9 times. And the only way that happened is each time I left a message, I put a reminder in my CRM for the next time to call. And I didn't have any stories that came up, and I'll be sharing about the stories in a minute. I just knew that they were busy. And finally, I reached one of them. One called me back. They both thanked me for following up with them and for being so persistent. And they both joined the program and were really thrilled. So that's what can happen when you have a powerful follow-up system. So when you meet people at these events, follow up within 24 to 48 hours is my recommendation. Again, while it's still top of mind. And then again, move backwards. So Monique, I just want to pause here. Is there anything you want to share or ask before I move on? Want me to keep going?
I mean, you're in such a beautiful swing. I mean, to be honest, so many powerful hints. From my side, there's no questions at the moment.
Okay.
So
okay, great. All right, I'll keep going. If you do,
going another
please interrupt.
10-15 minutes, and then we can, also open for questions from others as well.
Fabulous. Okay, awesome. All right, cool. So what I found with networking events is every time I've spoken at a networking event, someone has come up to me and said, I would love you to speak at my event. So if you have, again, because I built relationships with people, I didn't just show up. And I shared from the heart. I was authentic. I was transparent. I was vulnerable. And people came up to me. So when you're speaking, you will, if you're doing a great job speaking and connecting with the audience, you're going to have people come up to you and invite you to speak at their events. And then you have to have a follow-up system in place so that you keep up with that person. And so on the card, I'll write a little note that they have a speaking engagement, and then I'll create a category in my CRM that's called referrals for speaking engagements, right? So you want to have a category for referrals for speaking engagements, referrals for your business, so all these different categories. So you can have the best CRM in the world, but if you don't know what to do, and say it every step of the way, you're not going to be able to maximize that the benefit of having the CRM. And that's where I come in. I work with my clients and we create templates and scripts and all of that to help them with their follow-up process. So the next thing I want to talk about, I actually have a question. So so I'd love you to unmute to answer this if you know the answer. What do you think the best source of having qualified prospects coming to you, the best way to have qualified prospects coming to you already interested in working with you, like already excited about working with you? Anybody have any idea? The best way to have qualified prospects coming to you? Yeah, Marcus, yeah.
From existing clients, I think. If you have a recommendation, if you have a proof of work and you're being recommended, and that's the best referral you can get, I think. Exactly,
it's referrals. Thank you so much. Referrals are the most powerful source of business because they come from, a credible third party, someone who's already experienced the benefits of working with you. So question, how many of you, again, this is a safe container, so please be honest. How many of you consistently ask, like every single client, for referrals, like consistently? Natalie, good going. Okay, Natalie and Monique. Okay. I'm curious for the rest of you, just because of time, maybe if one of you can share, why aren't you asking for referrals consistently? I'm just curious. Anybody want to share? Do you sometimes feel like you don't want to put people at, you don't want to ask for too much, or maybe that would be pushy, or anybody feel that way?
I'm really too new in the business. I mean, I'm creating a speaker business. My thing is DNA and genealogy. That's my niche. And I am not finding it problem finding places to speak. So, but I'm very new at it. So I really don't have the referrals yet, so I can't.
Got it. Okay, got it. Thank you, Louise. What I'm finding is a lot of people say to me they don't ask for referrals consistently because they think they're asking their clients for too much. So I want to bust this whole story. So our clients love to refer people to us. If we provided good service or a good product and they've had a great experience, it makes them feel so good when they refer you to someone else, a friend, a colleague, who also benefits from working with you. And so I'm going to share some statistics that will help with this. 45% of new customers looking for a service-related business come from the recommendations of others. 45% come from referrals. And on average, and every industry is different, but 1 out of 20 people will, on average, say yes to doing business with you. But when it comes from a referral, it's 1 out of 6. So your chances of converting a referred prospect improves by 300%. Like, that's huge. You can either talk to 20 people and get 1 client, or 6 people and get 1 client. So the thing is, what you need to do, there's a way to ask for referrals that works, and there's a way that's not as effective. So you want to train your clients on how to give you the referral, especially for the speaking gigs. If they just give your card out to people, most of the time you're never going to hear. I had so many people say to me, "Oh, Debbie, I've been referring you to so many people. I talk about you all the time." I never got a call, right? So I'm training them to do an email introduction or to ask for permission for me to call them so that I'm in charge, because I'm the queen of follow-up. If they do an email introduction, I'm going to be on it. And when you get a referral, you want to follow up within 24 to 48 hours, okay? And then you want to train your clients what to say on your behalf. The easier you make it for them, the more referrals you're going to get. So I actually help my clients to create referral language to describe very clearly and succinctly what they do to make it very easy. Because we don't have time, and our clients don't have time to create create an email and write it up from scratch. So you want to share with them what you want them to say on your behalf. So I have a client who, just from asking powerfully for referrals and knowing how to train her clients what to say, she's a financial advisor, she got the biggest account that she's ever had. And she had her best month in 6 years after working with me. And she's 81 years old. So if she can do it, anyone can do it. And she has her system now, her CRM. She's following up. She's making appointments and setting times to meet with people, and she's getting more clients. So when you have a CRM in place, yes, Natalie?
Sorry, I was going to ask you a question. How soon do you advise people to get a CRM? I'm a business coach, and I help people from different stages, whether they're starting out in their business or they want to scale their business. And I'm a very big advocate of, I love CRMs and I love systems. But I would be curious to know, how soon do you recommend your clients to get a CRM?
Immediately.
Okay.
They decide to start a business, step 1, get a CRM, because you have to start having a place, because people, if they have slips of paper all over the place, they're not going to be following up with people. What I found is when people don't have a CRM in place, they just can't keep all the stuff in their head, and potential clients will slip through the cracks. And my clients that are using a CRM, they find that they're following up with people more consistently, they're staying in touch with them longer, and they're building deeper relationships, and they are getting more clients. So immediately, because if they're going out networking and going out speaking, they've got to have a system in place. And when you have a system in place that organizes everything and you stay in touch with people more consistently, you're going to build deeper relationships with folks. And that's where the clients are going to come from. It's all about building relationships. So it's going to help people your clients to build deeper relationships more quickly by having that in place. Thank you for that. Okay, so I was talking about referrals. So referrals are key. And I'm finding that entrepreneurs and speakers are making everything else more important in their business than referrals. And based on the statistics I shared, it's so much easier to get a new client from an existing client from a referral than going out and trying to drum up new business. Okay. So, and then always asking for referrals for speaking gigs. Always. I'm asking for very specific, the type of audience I'm looking for, what kind of people I'm looking for. And I'm getting, a lot of referrals for speaking gigs that way. The first few years of my business, I did not have to reach out to get one speaking gig, people were calling me because my topic was so hot, and because they heard me speak, they kept inviting me to the next speaking gig. So it will become like a domino thing for you. The more you go out speaking, the more speaking gigs you're going to get. So the last thing, I can talk forever about all these topics, but because of time, I want to move on to the last secret that I want to share. And you can have the best CRM in the world, the most beautiful website, and the most fabulous product or service, but if the mindset is off, it's going to affect everything. And so I'm finding that a lot of entrepreneurs are losing clients to missed opportunities. You might be procrastinating or putting off, the follow-up. Yeah, so Doug's saying that, okay, procrastination is a big thing. And putting off the follow-up for all sorts of reasons. These reasons usually boil down to fears, limiting beliefs, and stories that we make up about follow-up that stop us dead in our tracks. So we might leave the follow-up for later, or just maybe avoid it altogether. The problem with this is that follow-up is actually fundamental to growing your business. It's very challenging to build a successful, thriving business without follow-up. And I'm finding that people are making everything else in their business more important than following up. Getting their beautiful website, getting their opt-ins, everything. Those are all important things. But if you're not following up, you're going to waste your time and energy and money. And so one of the limiting beliefs that I hear like over and over and over again about why people aren't following up is because you're afraid of being salesy or pushy, or that it's maybe not authentic to who you are. And I'm just curious, sometimes I hear people say that they had an experience where someone followed up with them in a way that felt salesy or pushy, so they decided, like, I never want to be that way. Can anybody relate to that at all? Anybody? I see Doug, and okay, I see some head shaking. Okay, so I actually have really good news for you. Well, first of all, how many of you feel pushy and salesy when you're following up, or you may hesitate to follow up because you don't want to be salesy or pushy? Does anybody have this? Does this come up? Okay, I see a few hands. Okay, thank you for being honest. I appreciate that. So I have really, really good news for you today. You can actually follow up in a way that feels compelling and connected instead of salesy and repelling. So what if when you followed up with someone, you were letting them know that you really cared about them and that you were showing up in service to them? Like, that would create a really different experience of following up, wouldn't it? It's really a mindset shift. Your potential clients are waiting for you to show up in service to them and what they truly need. Your people are waiting for you. I'm sure you've heard this. Your people are waiting for you. You have a gift. You have something that can make a huge impact in people's lives. And if you're not following up, you're going to be the best kept secret. So the mindset around that is really, really key. So when you follow up, show up in service, see how you can help them, see what kind of difference you can make, and the whole energy will shift. And so the key thing too throughout the entire follow-up process is always be asking for permission from your potential client to go to the next step. If you ask for permission, you will never feel salesy or pushy again. And I'll share, like, really authentically, like, I thought when I left Wall Street and started my network marketing business that it was going to be a piece of cake because I'd been so successful on Wall Street. But I struggled and I kept hitting the wall and I didn't know what was going on. And it turned out that the way of working on Wall Street, because on Wall Street, I was paid really well to be assertive and pushy and relentless. That was just the way on Wall Street. But that didn't work in the entrepreneurial world. And it wasn't until I realized that the way to build my business was to build relationships and ask questions and get curious and see how I could help people. And when I started doing that, everything started to change. Because I had people, I would show up and hose them down. I would never even ask if they were interested. And like, they would just like, oh, here comes Debbie. She's going to talk about that stuff again. Like, it was horrible. I mean, I lost friendships over it until I realized and had this aha moment So I know what it's like to be pushy and salesy, and I know what it's like to come from the heart and to make a difference and to just support people coming from that way. So, okay. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here because I could talk forever about follow-up. I actually could talk for days. I just spoke for 3 days at my live event about follow-up, so I could go on forever. And we've just barely scratched the surface. And what I'm finding out in the world is entrepreneurs are really struggling with the follow-up. It's like the missing piece of the puzzle. And you all have a mission, like my mission is to help you share your gifts and get your message out in a big way so that you can make the impact that you're here to make and to have your dreams come true. And so I'd like to offer all of you a free gift where you can get some more follow-up tips. I have a free guide that has 4 steps in it, 4 secrets that you can implement right away to grow your business. And every Friday on Follow-Up Friday, I have a short video tip that comes out with an invitation of something that you can do that week, very practical things that you can do that week. So it will help keep follow-up top of mind for you. So if you'd like to receive this, the link is powerupyourfollowup.com/free guide, GUIDE. So powerupyourfollowup.com/free guide. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning that I've created a quiz that's about 5 minutes where you can assess your follow-up skills and see where you're strong, where your strengths are, and to see what areas you might need to focus on. And the link for that is powerupbizquiz.com, powerupbizquiz.com. Maybe Monique, if you wouldn't mind typing that in, powerupbizquiz.com. It will be a real eye-opener for all of you to take that and see how you're doing with your follow-up. So I'd like to open it up for, the free guide is there, and then the biz quiz. So would love to open it up for any questions that you have, anything about what I shared. I'd love to know any takeaways, any key ahas from what I spoke about, what was of value to you, and then any question that you have. Or any question about follow-up in general. And by the way, the follow-up process is the sales process. So it's the whole thing. I just call it follow-up, but it is the whole sales process.
I would have a question for you, Debbie, if you don't mind, which is you spoke about referral language. Would you mind saying a little more about that?
Yeah, so I write out for my clients what I want them to say when they're referring people to me. So I write out a few sentences on what I want them to say on my behalf. So it has to be super easy and simple. And then also a more lengthy, not too long, but I write out an email that they can just copy and paste and forward it off. So people who I'm partnering with, they send me their referral language. I save it in a folder. And so when I'm ready, when I have a referral for them, all I need to do is copy and paste what they've sent me. I add a personal note, and then it's off. It makes it super easy to do that. Yeah. And Natalie, I think you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I actually have my VA do some of the follow-ups, and I find that it puts some kind of distance where I can keep playing the good cop. I mean, it's not a good cop, bad cop situation, but it's like she can be the one following up, and I can be the one just appearing for the when something is more important. And I want to have your thought on that. Is this like a good strategy, or because you're talking about building a relationship, and I like that also about building the relationship through the follow-up. So what do you say about that? That's
a fabulous question. And what is she following up about? So give me a scenario, and then I can answer more specifically.
After sales calls, after proposals, after I've met someone, if I have some follow-up to do, I wish she would, even though I draft a template email, and then she can copy paste it. So it's, but it's coming out of her email and her signatures, so that there is something about, she can also talk about sending testimonials or sending videos and things like that, things that I might not feel comfortable do, directly. So
That's a really good question. Thank you for clarifying. So I the way I've built my business, like I said, is about building relationships. So I'm doing the follow-up, but as you get busier and busier and you don't have the time or bandwidth to do it, then having a VA is really important. But to the extent, if it's a really great potential client and you have the time, I highly recommend you following up. Because people have said to me that in this day and age, like coaches just don't follow up with them. And when I do, it makes me rise above the competition and makes me stand out. And they feel like I'm building, you know, they feel more connected to me. So again, it's all a matter of your time, your availability, but whenever you can, I would recommend calling them. I'm an old-fashioned girl. I believe in picking up the phone and calling people.
Okay, thank you.
First, and then following up with an email. You're welcome. Great question. Okay.
And Marcus has a question. If you and the prospect you agree on talking on their X and you're calling on their X, what do you ask them? I'm calling as agreed upon. Has anything changed on your end, or what do you ask when following up? Maybe Marcus, why don't you step in and just ask your own question?
What's a concrete question? I mean, the client said, okay, I can't give you a yes or no right now. Call me again in 2 weeks' time. So you do that, and then you ask the question, okay, do you have gathered all the information on your organization? Or, I mean, that's being salesy and being pushy, right? So how do you do that about offering help? On the one hand, following up, being persistent, calling again, and then offering help. How do you balance that? That's the core of my question, I think.
Okay, so you had a call with a potential client. They weren't ready to make a decision, and they asked you to follow up with them in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. And did they say why they wanted to wait 2 weeks? Like, what was the reason for not making a decision then? Did they share?
No, they didn't. I'm just starting my business and getting better in this follow-up process. So I'm trying to tap into your experience here.
Okay, great. So you want to ask some questions to get curious, you know, if like first, if you've given all the information and they seem interested, to invite them to work with you. If they say, I need 2 weeks to make a decision, you want to just ask, you know, what, share with me what's going on, you know, share with me what you need the 2 weeks, or you want to find out what they're thinking of. They might, usually they say they need to talk to somebody else, or they need to check their budget or whatever. So ask them, would you mind sharing with me what are your considerations about this? You know, what's keeping you from making a decision today? That's not pushy and salesy. And then when you follow, if they say, well, I need to check with my partner or whatever it is, then you would call in 2 weeks, and I would set an appointment, like what would be a good day to follow up with you or reconnect? When would be a good time to reconnect? And I get an appointment and I put it in my calendar, and then I just call, and then I usually share something about our previous conversation. So I take lots of notes. I do a discovery session with potential clients, and I ask them lots of questions. I write down everything, and then I'll re-presence what they said. So last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were really struggling with XYZ, and I shared with you how I can really help you with blah, 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 whatever it is that you do.
All right.
And I've been thinking about you, and I would love to work with you. And then see what they say.
Yeah.
And if they're not ready, you know, you always, it's so much better to get the yes or the no instead of being put off. So if you ever feel hesitation from someone, and you want to isolate what the issue is. So if they say, well, money's the issue. Well, if money wasn't the issue, is this something that you'd want to do? Would you want to get started? So always isolate whatever they say the concern is, and make sure that that's really the concern. Because sometimes they just don't want to say no to you because they think they're going to hurt your feelings. But it's much better getting the no than being in that unknown place. Because
I
then
absolutely agree.
Yeah. Because the energy keeps going out towards this person. I wonder what they're thinking and if they're going to become a client, and it's a drain. So you want to get the yes or the no. So if you feel intuitively that they're hesitating, just say, you know, I'm sensing some hesitation here. Is there anything else that's getting in the way of you saying yes to working with me?
Okay. So the core of what you said is that take notes, listen carefully, take notes, and then once you follow up, wrap up what was said in the previous conversation and get them on the loop. Don't expect them to remember. Bring them on the loop and ask whether they have gathered the information they said they needed before.
Yeah, so find out what information they need to gather, like really get curious. So the more curious you get and the more questions you ask, and the better you listen, the more information you're going to get, and you're going to write all the stuff down and re-presence it in your mind, and then re-presence it for them to remind them, because life gets in the way. 2 weeks later, they're off on something else, and they're going to forget.
Yeah.
They're onto something else. So re-presence for them. And then also they're going to go, wow, he really listened. Like, I'm not used to people listening to me and actually hearing what I say. And again, that's going to create that trust, because, wow, he really heard what I had to say and remembered. Yeah, it's really powerful. Actually, perfect example. I'll share a very short story. There was a woman I followed up with for 2 years with these health products. And I had written down everything she was struggling with. And she kept saying she didn't have the money. She didn't have the money. I finally said, you know, are you still dealing with these issues? And I was very clear, used her language, and she went, oh my God. Like, it made her realize that she was still in that same place that she was, and she couldn't take it anymore, because I re-presenced it for her. And she became a client on the phone, on the spot. And to this day, she still thanks me for being so persistent with her and not giving up, because it's changed her life. So that's the power of taking notes. Really powerful. Was that helpful?
Thank you very much. So, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And then, go on.
No, I was just wondering. I think we have time for one more question. If
Doug, you said, Doug, do you want to ask your question? You typed it in privately to me. I don't know if you wanted to ask it publicly or if you meant to send it privately. I just want to make sure.
I wanted to clarify before I said it publicly.
Oh.
So, the Granville, Michigan Kiwanis Leadership Summit has reached out to the Speakers Bureau, and they're interested in bringing me on board in August to share my throwing in the towel, it's simply not worth it suicide story. And they told me that there'll be plenty of event planners there, and to plan for a 20-minute, like a similar to a TED Talk speech. So theoretically, if there's numerous event planners there and I inspire many of them at once, what would be a good process method to do the follow-up?
Okay, well, to have conversations with them, get their cards. If they come up to you, they probably will come up to you. Get their card, create that category in event planners in your CRM, and get on the phone the next day and just say thank you so much for whatever they said, that shared. You had mentioned that you'd like me to speak at your event. Would love to have a conversation and find out about their audience. It's always great to find out what their audience is, who they are, what their needs are, and so that you can tailor your talk, or if you need to tweak it to the audience. How can I best serve your audience? So what does your audience really need? To ask questions like that when you're following up. And again, set the reminder. If you don't hear back from them, they're busy. I would make a phone call and then follow it up with an email. Some people will respond to an email quicker, but if you just send an email, it can get lost. And again, people are going to be more likely to listen to a voicemail and not miss a voicemail, and then to, you know, they're more likely to miss an email. So I always like to do both to cover both bases.
Thank you.
Sure. Does that answer your question? Cool.
Right. Thank you so much, Debbie. And as much as you could keep talking about this forever, I know we could listen to this forever. I know that you have so much more to share. And I invite everyone that wants to learn more about how to follow up in more powerful ways. Go to powerupyourfollowup.com, a free guide, or Power Up Business Biz Quiz. You have the links here. I'm happy to also share them in our library for your call, because this recording will be in the Hall of Fame forever.
Oh my God.
So,
I made it into the Hall of Fame.
Calls, yes. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here with us today, getting up. I mean, keep in mind that she's been on the call as of 7:50 in the morning her time. Okay, so she's in California, sunny California. So thank you for getting up early for us.
You're welcome.
And
You're so welcome.
thank you for making our day and giving us all these powerful hints and tips.
Thank you.
And thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today, because you're the reason why we all get up in the morning, right? So, and we really look forward to hear from you in our community in the next couple of days. What kind of hints did you apply? You know, what did you implement? What was your learning? What is your experience from this? And if any more questions come up, please ask them. So engage actively in our speaker community. And Debbie, I'll invite you to keep an eye out on comments and questions in the next couple of days,
and
so
actually,
that people can also connect with you directly.
There's also one quick thing I forgot. I have a private community on Facebook, Power Up Your Follow-Up Community. And every day there's a theme. And we have Mindset Monday, where you set your intention for the week. Tuesday, you can Talk It Up Tuesday. You can promote your business, product, service, whatever you have. Wednesday is Win-Win Wednesday, where you get to celebrate. I'm really big on celebrating and very big on setting intentions. So Thursday, I do Facebook Live, and you can come on and ask a question and get free coaching. And then Friday, I post my video tip there. So it's a great way to connect with people. I'd love you to post there what you're implementing, what you're doing from what we talked about today. And it'll just be a great way for you to connect and get support. And every Thursday, you can get free coaching and come on. So would love to have you guys check that out as well.
Cool. Powerful. Thank you, Debbie, for being on. Thank you, everyone, for being on. Share with us what you are working on, and we have you back next month when we have another amazing guest. But first of all, thank you, Debbie.
Thank you so much for having me, Monique. It was a pleasure. So nice meeting all of you from around the world. It's so fun, and hope this was helpful for you.
Great. See you all in our community. See you soon. Cheers.
Okay. Bye for now.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.